Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclone. Time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. We're going to do two things today. The first thing we're going to do, obviously, clear up this set of 3 scenarios. But another little note here, if I were to go back to the menu, which I'm not going to do, but if I were to go back to the menu, this is the only scenario I currently have downloaded for this route, the DPSimulation version of the East Coast Mainline Northeast. Others are not installed. So because this is the one that I have installed right now, we are also going to debut the workshop version of the East Coast Mainline Northeast. There is another version under a different route ID, which we will get to in the future. Don't know yet what's different with it. I'm going to have to see if I can find out. But we're going to look at the workshop version of DPSimulation East Coast Mainline Northeast. And I think there's an additional part of the map as well. We will get to that. So this is the finale of the set of the 802 drive from Liverpool to Newcastle. It's also our debut of the East Coast Mainline Northeast from DPSimulation. 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's go do this. Hello, driver. Hope you had a smooth run in Part 1 and Part 2 from Liverpool and on the Huddersfield line. Open the doors and prepare the train for a high-speed run from York to Newcastle. Please stop near the end of the platform at upcoming stations for the doors to open correctly. Yeah, I've been noticing the doors have not been opening correctly, even though I've been stopping at the end of the platform. The doors claim to be opening, but I don't see them open. I think it actually does expect the passenger to go to the door before it will show it as open, because I watched another train with 1 door open and the rest didn't open. But I don't know, it's kind of weird how this works. In any case, let's go ahead and get started on this. We'll bring up all the stuff here. And we're going to go ahead and get the doors open first of all, because I think we have to do that. We have a lot of places to stop here. Excellent. Excellent. Let's make sure this is this train once again is set up, because as usual, if I pop outside the train here, we're going to find out that, yeah, that's first class again. The destination again is missing. So we're going to put the master key in first, which you're going to see me then do that. I'm going to reset the fault indicator. The AWS is going to pop up and say, hey, we need to reset it. There it is. So now we can go ahead and set the destination once again, because we didn't set it before, apparently. Apparently we never set this, which I'm sure I set it twice. Takes a while to do it, which is probably why we get 3 minutes to do the setup on this. There's Middlesbrough. That's something else I think is added to this version of the route. We will check the map in a second. Let's just make sure the train is fully set up. So we are going to Newcastle. We're going to go to the front of the train again. Hello. Hello. So we're going to turn. That's good enough. I don't know the right policy for this. Doesn't bother me. Look at the detail of the yard over there. This is obviously much different than the older age one that we have in the 60s and 70s version that we have in the game already. So this is an updated version, and since it is an updated version, let's take a quick peek at the map. And I'm going to have to do some other things with the train, but we'll come back to that. Quick peek at the map. Nothing different over here. Nothing different up here. Continuing towards there. We actually have a little part of the area over here to Middlesbrough. This is what is different. Now, there are other routes from DPSimulation that provide additional coverage. For example, one line from Northallerton goes north to Eaglescliff. So it would actually come up this area here. It would meet right here. And that's where, yeah, that goes to Yarm. So it does go to this area and does continue up there and through there. So the end of this line, of course, is Middlesbrough. There is line beyond it, but you don't really do anything there because there's no stations. There's a marker, but I don't know what else is in there. So, yeah, that pretty much doesn't matter. We're not going to worry about that. Let's turn this off. I think do we need to put this in diesel mode? No, we're on an electric line, so we should be okay staying on electric now. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves going as soon as we are allowed to. But one more thing I want to do very quickly on the map. I'm just going to try to get up there quickly before we get moving. The yard is gone, and we have Dunstan here. The yard that was here is gone. So that's another way to know that you're looking at the modern version of the route. And this is not the Just Trains one either. I've looked at the map for the Just Trains one. The yard is still there in the Just Trains modern version. So, yeah, they didn't actually modify it on that version. The station wasn't there, the yard was still there, and that was supposedly the modern one. I don't know how well that went over, but I won't comment on that. It's a very, very old line, and no one remembers that line anymore, except the people who played it way back when it first came out on Rail Simulator. But in any case, we are leaving York, our first stop being Northallerton. So this is a very much updated version of the route. I am planning to try looking at some of the old scenarios on the on that version of the route, and I'm going to see if I can somehow recreate some of them on this route if possible. It'd be nice to be able to do that, but no guarantees. It'll be a chance for me to get my hand in scenario creation, and that's why I'm thinking about it. So we're leaving York at a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. That seems fast for that area, but we are allowed to do it. We have a green signal, and we're off. So we're going to be entering a 50-mile-per-hour section. That's going to be graduated to a 60-mile-per-hour section, and then we're going to hit the 125. There's our alert to that everything is okay up ahead. Green signal. Now let's put a full speed on there. So let's take a look at the itinerary. It is a long one, considering we did our first stop. We're going to Northallerton. We're going to stop at Darlington. So we're skipping Thirsk, obviously, on the other line. We're going to go to Durham. Going to continue to Chester-le-Street, which is the last station before Newcastle. Then we're going to head to the reception area, and we're going to leave the train there. Oh, and by the way, I didn't take a good look at any timings. Were there timings? Yes, there are timings all the way down to Newcastle. If you miss any of these timings, failure. So we are now entering the 125-mile-per-hour segment. I did stall the speed at 58 to make sure I didn't go past. But now we want to go ahead and go up indeed. That's exactly what we're going to do. Look at the stuff over here. Look at that. That's in the yard. Lovely. Another train over there in the yard. Is that a 37? Or is that a... That might be a DB Schenker. I don't know. But in any case, let's go. So we are 28 miles from Northallerton. We're going to see trains going by. That looked like an 801. So we're going to be stopping at Northallerton 28 miles, and then we'll be making stops at every station after that. So let's go ahead and enjoy the drive here for a little while. We're now passing Thirsk Station. You can notice that I've been holding my speed at 122 miles per hour for the entire time here, except for a slight dip to 121, at which point I raised my throttle back up to 40%. It seems that 40% I'm maintaining the speed perfectly as we pass this slower train here. So a delayed train that we're getting around here. And I saw a freight train a little further back too that I think we passed as well. So we are getting some good traffic on this. I got to give props to the scenario maker of all three of them. He's provides some good traffic for us to go ooh and ah over where the track's permitted. Fantastic usage of the tracks. I have to give him credit for that. So not bad at all. So we are now about is that a 5 or 6? I think that's a 6. Yeah, 6 miles from Northallerton. Tiny text. I need new glasses. I'll figure it out. So at the speed we're going, we will be there in about 3 minutes. We are going to have to slow down, of course, pulling up because the speed limit does drop, I think, slightly. Or if it doesn't, at least we have to slow down anyway. Otherwise, we go flying past the station. So one way or the other, we're going to have to slow down anyway. Now, I was kind of hinting earlier that there are other versions of the route that allow you to continue north of Northallerton, as oxymoronic as that sounds. Going through the Eagles Cliff area on a different route to Middlesbrough and Sunderland and all those places up there in the northeast. This one doesn't have that. But it turns out the route that does have that I know of, it's called Northeast England. There's actually a version 4 of the route now, which I think there's a version 4. It might still be version 3, but I thought I saw something with a version 4. I'm probably wrong. I might be thinking of something else. But it's at least version 3. And it includes, like I said, all the way to Sunderland. It includes the line from Bishop Auckland to Darlington, which is also a Just Trains DLC by itself I need to explore at some point before we pull out Northeast England. And it does not include north of Darlington. I need to point that out. That route does not include north of Darlington. So you got the East Coast Main Line up to Darlington from York, but you have the focus being more on all the areas to the northeast of that main line. So you're not going to even continue past Sunderland, which would eventually get you back around to York via a back way. But you're not going to actually continue on that route because Sunderland is the end of your journey on that route. And there used to be a lot of metros in that area too. Someone did create a line that I think has it set up as a railway. And this was back in the day before the metros came to be. The line was its own line at that point, major rail, before the metro actually became the way for those tracks to survive. And they are thriving as metro tracks where they would not have as heavy rail had they stayed as heavy rail. So now the station, Northallerton, has shown up on the HUD. You can see I've started to slow down. Not too much yet, just enough that I can get some control over my brakes as I get closer and not have to use an emergency brake. So we're getting down to 95 now. You're noticing there is a little bit of lag here and there. Just to note again, I don't have a supercomputer. It's not perfect. The time may come when I'm able to upgrade my computer and get an i9 and even more memory than I have now to do even more things than I do already. The time will come, just not yet. So here's half of Northallerton. I've eased the brakes up to 20% for right now, so I can coast the rest of the way into the platform. That was a very good profile for slowing down. I really thought that slowed down nicely. So definitely good for the train here as well. And actually, I just realized this is a longer platform, so we're going to keep going for a little while longer. Notice on the other platform there was a shunt signal, double red. That's because you can shunt over that platform if you need to. So I don't think it's for services that begin and end in Northallerton. I don't think such a service exists, as I go a little too far here. Well, that was fun. I didn't bother to finish slowing down. That was stupid of me. But so yeah, I don't think that's for any case of a train, of a service starting and ending there. I think it's just a case of if a train needs to shunt over for some kind of problem at the platform or something. But in any case, arrival at Northallerton. Leaving Northallerton, passing a couple workers there. Our next stop is Darlington. There goes the line through Eaglescliff, which is not represented again in this DLC. There's a separate line coming from the other direction that goes under that bridge and meets the... Actually, no, I said that wrong. I think that's the line coming in. We would probably be following a line that then goes under that bridge and heads north, if we want to be on the right side. It's also possible that shunt may be an alternate way to get onto that line if there's a problem with the other line, or a blockage. So reviewing our itinerary here, we are looking at a arrival time at 10:37 at Darlington. You see we're under 14 miles away, and there's another train going by. So based on a 125 speed limit, that would be about 7 minutes. Given that would get us to about 10:34. I have a feeling we're going to be going 125 most of this section. We are going to be slowing down as we pull into Darlington, though, as you do have to go off the main track. And I think by that point, we're looking at an 80 or 90 or something like that. 85, maybe. Then when we pull on the platform, we'll be pulling into the platform at a 25. I have to admit, I like the clouds in the sky in this scenario. It advertises as a clear day, but there are some clouds up there. It just gives a little bit... I think, even though it might be the same clouds every time you play, they might be moved around a little bit. It at least gives some definition to the sky, makes it look like a more real scenic landscape than it does if you just have blocky things up there that make it obvious it's a game. So, they do look very decent up there. I kind of said that about the storm clouds in the last scenario. I like the storm clouds in the last scenario too. So the clouds in the original AP weather pack, very well done. Gotta give props where props are due. Okay, I'm going to start to use the throttle down, see if I can get the 20% or the 40% working for me again. Right now I'm at 60%. Gonna see if I can keep the speed increasing for a moment here. A little buzzing noise. Don't know if that was electricity or an airplane going by. Sitting at 38%, that should do. And the buttons are flashing again, so I'm going to assume this is a weird, must be some kind of bug with the reskin. The buttons just flash in some weird way. I don't. I'll have to check with if the original skin does the same thing on the 801, but I don't remember it doing that. I think some of these lights are new on the reskin. So I'm gonna assume it's a problem with the reskin because I saw nothing that looked like a shadow there. And speed just dropped to 121, but we're losing some of our speed limit anyway, so I'm just going to set the throttle right down to 0. I'm going to let the speed drop to 115 on its own if I can. If I need to encourage it with a little bit of a brake, I will do so. Down to 120. I think we're going to get down there in time at this pace, so this is looking okay to me. Though I am rethinking that. It might not be enough time. Let's see. Not quite enough time. Put a tiny brake application on just to urge it, and that should be fine now. A little more. There we go. Just to ensure we're safe. So 115 is now our speed limit. We are going to go back up to 125, but I also note that we are 4 miles away from Darlington. By the time we can go back up to 125, there's absolutely no reason to do that. So I'm just going to kind of let the speed continue to drop a little bit here, and we're going to deal with that. Because we got 5 minutes to make our stop, and I think we're going to do very, very well for time on this one. The timetable on this scenario, I imagine, is very, very loose, so that there is the ability to make a little bit of a mistake, such as hitting the emergency brake, and being able to recover from it and still be able to make your stop on time. So there usually is some leeway for issues that might occur. So I've reapplied the throttle at 30% for right now so we don't lose too much speed. I do still want the speed to go down, but I want to maintain high speed for right now. Technically, at the speed we're going right now, we're going to be at our place to stop within a minute. You can see the signal up ahead. That is a flashing double yellow telling us that we're going to be leaving the line. We're going to have a 90 up ahead as well that has now come into focus. There's the 35, or sorry, 35. I thought it was 25. I'm going to go to 25 anyway because I think it is 25 on the junction, unless that may have changed in the modern version. I remember it being 25, not 35. We'll find out. That is a flashing single yellow signal. Notice I'm ignoring the fact that we have a 90 and I'm already meeting the 90. The 35 is very close after the 90, so I know I have to lose all that speed before I get to the 90. A little bit of lag as we approach there. Okay, I'm down to 60, so I'm going to leave it for a little while to go like this, because we are still only about a mile from the station. At the speeds we're going, we should be there in about 2 or 3 minutes, so we should be there in plenty of time. There's the yellow, so you don't have a buggy signal like we do on the other version of the East Coast Main Line. It just lets us go straight in. I am doing a heavy brake now, but I didn't need to do it that heavy, so I've taken it back off. Going 42 at the moment. But we will apply a little bit more brake. And that'll do. We are with... Actually, I should have gone 25. I did want to go 25. So I'm going to keep it going down. We're going to see what takes effect here. No, it is 35. Okay. I did not want to brake anymore. Why did I do that? So I could have gone 35 in here. I should be fine for my stop anyway, but now we know. On the modern version, it is 35. Very good. Very good. 50 in the platform. You see there's a line that ends there. That is a siding. That is not a platform. We are on platform 4. There are 4 platforms. And there's a whole bunch of sidings out there for trains. And arrival at Darlington, platform number 4. Leaving Darlington, our next stop is Durham. We are entering a 50-mile-per-hour section, so we are going to go ahead and take advantage of the ability to get up to that speed. There goes the box. I noticed, by the way, that the houses behind that fence are floating. Now, I hope that's not the case in the full version of the route, which is on the website, but the one on the Steam Workshop has floating houses. What do I know? So we're rejoining the main line. We're going to see what speed we get bumped up to when we get fully on the line. There we are, 125 it is. Off we go. That will not stay that way, though, because it is a slower ride not far north of here to Durham. In fact, you can see it is 21 miles from here to Durham, and you can see that we also have a time requirement of 14 minutes. So I think that's about 5 minutes into this journey, about 10 miles. I think it might get shot down at that point. Then we're going to be looking at 80s and I think a 75 or a 70, maybe even a 65 somewhere that we have to deal with on the way here. So I think between 65 and 85 is what we're going to be dealing with a little bit north of Darlington. I think there's another 125 when you get past the stations here, and as you make the final stretch to Newcastle, but then it gets slowed down again, obviously, as you come to Newcastle because you're going to go slow over the bridge. It's actually not as far as I thought. That is a 95 coming up. So we are going to have to limit our speed to 95 here. I can still go above it for right now. I'm just going to have to use the brakes. So since we are under a time schedule, I'll go ahead and I will just use a little bit of that speed. It is going to drop to 85 up ahead as well, so let's keep this in mind too. We're being warned about the 95, so I will now go ahead and apply the speed, or I should say the brakes right now to change the speed limit. Going to let it coast for a moment. Now that I'm in the decimals, and I will need another brake. Notice there's another 115 after we clear the 85, so this is a very interesting section. We have to slow down for some curves here, it looks like. And then we're right back up to speed. I don't remember this 115 being back here in the older version of the route. Maybe older trains were not allowed to run in those days at those speeds, so it was not permitted to do that. Whereas there was a much straighter section between York and Northallerton, which it was possible to run at 125 because there was not much deviation. There was really no deviation except for lane changes, in which case you have to slow down anyway. But in these curved areas, I don't think they wanted you to go fast in the old days. I'm guessing. I don't know. Just based on what I see on speeds here. So I'm reapplying a little bit of a throttle here so we can start working our way up. Here we go, up to 115. I do expect this to be dropped at some point in the very near future as well. We are now about 16 miles away from Durham, which at a 115 speed would take a little over 8 minutes. You would still have about 2 minutes to spare. So maybe it is 115 all the way here now. That would be interesting. That would be a change. Be a very interesting change. By the way, in the last scenario, the Huddersfield scenario, I actually had a very interesting error that came up. So underneath my speed limits on the results screen, I didn't show you this, but underneath the speed errors on the results screen, I had an error or a problem that showed up, and it just said all. That was the line, all. Now, I know that there were changes to the code and how things were picked up in the game, but they didn't get rid of the all. So it is still possible to commit all as an error in scenario plays. So be careful about committing all, because it's all the rage to... Never mind. I don't know where I'm going with that. In any case, we're at 110 now. I'm going to put my throttle back up to about a 30-something. There's 38. We're going to try to maintain 110. That should suffice for our purposes. 111 should suffice for our purposes. Coincidentally enough, there's a 110 coming up. All I need to do is take the throttle off for a moment, drop it a few miles, and then put up a percentage to maintain again. That's all I got to do. So a very convenient spot to find a speed limit very, very close to what I'm currently going. It's only a difference of 5 miles per hour. I don't think we're even going to get an alert to this. You're just going to be expected to know it's there. So let's drop that down a little bit. Oh, it just went to 112, so we're going to let it drop. Lo and behold, there's a 120 after this again. I really don't remember the speed limits being this friendly. I really honestly don't. So I put the throttle back up to 30% in an attempt to maintain, since I was increasing on 38 and I'm slightly lower now than I was before. So we're going to see if 30% is a good maintain speed until I get to the 120. Then I'll need a higher percentage to maintain that. 40% seem to maintain 122 and a 125 very nicely. So it's about finding that sweet spot. Durham is 9.5 miles away now as we start this 120 section. I didn't fly the full throttle, so I'm going to just see what kind of increase I have, and I'm going to dial the throttle back as we get a little higher. There's another train. That looked like an 801, or at least the livery of an 801. So I'm going to go ahead and start dialing the speed back. As I do, I'm going to do another review of our itinerary just to verify where we are. So we are now almost down to 8 miles from Durham. We're going to continue to Chester Le Street, which is only about 5.5 up the line from there. Newcastle is 8 further away. So this stretch to Durham is the longest stretch of what remains, apparently. So after we stop at Newcastle, 21.5 miles away, we're going to go to the Heaton reception, which is another 2 miles away from that. So it's actually a very long drive from Newcastle to the Heaton reception. 110 is, or sorry, I'll try that again. 100 is now the upcoming speed limit. So I'm going to go ahead and start light brake down to 110, maybe 105 if it's, nope, that's actually a really good brake. So I'm going to let it just coast for a moment from here. We're going to stay at 110 for right now, except for whatever it decides to drop to, because I am letting it coast. There's 109. Should now come down to 108, but it's not going to get down fast enough. So I'm going to have to go ahead and use the brakes here. That's exactly what I'm going to do. We are down to exactly 100. I'm letting it coast down a little further. Actually, there's a little downhill, so I'm not going to take a chance. Get that mile off. There we go. We also have a 90 coming up. So this is the route of many changing speed limits. And you may remember that from the first time we ran the route. The speed limit just changed constantly. West Coast Main and I did the same thing with like a 110, 115, 125, 105, something like different speeds all over the place. So it's just the same idea. So after this 90 is another 100. We also have to stop, which might be more important. Just my take on it. Might be more important to stop. Very handy. There we go. Under the rule of the 90 for now until we pass that 100, then we'll be under the rule of the 100, naturally. We seem to have hit a slight uphill here, because I am losing some speed even with the throttle applied. 1 in 150 is our uphill gradient. I'm going to apply a little more speed, or a little more power now to see if we can get some speed back. As we're going to be going to 100 in just a moment. But then there's another 80 right before our stop at Durham. So I guess I'm probably not, hello, I'm going to be not be going up to 100. There's our double yellow flashing indicator. We are going to be having a lane change up ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply the brakes knowing that we're going to be getting that on an 80. Now I can't brake. What's going on here? Oh, because I've had the throttle on, that's why. Duh. Duh. So we got down to 80. This is going to be amusing, guys. Is this a junction at 80? Or is the junction the 70 something up ahead? 75? Junction must be the 75. Since I see the station coming up, I've gone ahead and put a further brake on just to make sure that everything's good. That was a single flashing yellow. This is going to be a little tighter than I thought it was going to be. Maybe I shouldn't have slowed down yet. There is a 40 before the platform. Of course, I'm going to be trying to go 30 by then, or less. Thank you. So we are now under 40, well in advance. That is a yellow signal. The next signal could be red, but we're stopping anyway, so who cares? More than likely it could be green at this point. I don't know why I bother going down to 30. I am cutting this stop very close now. Let's look at the bridge. Lovely. 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 I need to put the brakes on. Let's not do the emergency. That'd be a good idea. Am I going to stop right on time? Look at this. Look at this. Actually, I'm not because I pulled it off, but I might be... I'm actually a couple seconds behind, but we'll take it. As we see train number 1V56 about to go by, we are making our stop at Durham, platform 2. Leaving Durham, our next stop is Chesterless Street. We have 6 minutes to get there. I'm putting the throttle up to 100% immediately. You might have noticed the train coming in behind us. I think it is still there. Yeah, it's still making it stop. So its doors are still open and everything. There you go. It'll be going at some point after we leave, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it stays here. So we're getting close to our speed limit. We're going to go ahead and just tone that back immediately because 40 is not going to be our final speed. There is no speed sign, but as soon as we're back on the main line, we're probably going to be going back to about 80 or 100 or something in that range. I'm going to say 80. 90 works too. I'll take 90. So we only have 6 miles to go. We have 5 minutes to do it now. Oh wait, that's 5 miles. I think. We'll read it again in a second. Yeah, it was 5 miles. Okay, that's slightly better. Slightly better. So if we can get over 60, we're going to be doing pretty good. Especially because there's a 115 up ahead. Just to remind you, this is going to be the final intermediate stop and the final station as well before we get to Newcastle. I will try to get a look at the Dunstan station to see what decoration may have been done on this route. That is, of course, on the Tees Valley line, heading back towards Carlisle. At least I believe that's where it is. Not sure what else it would be. Of course, now I'm going to make myself look that up because I don't know what else it could be, and I'm curious if it is indeed what I think it is. Because I need to know that I'm right. It is a validation. I said that wrong. I knew it was not Tees Valley, even though I said Tees Valley. It's the Tyne Valley line. That's the line I meant. I did mean the line from Newcastle to Carlisle. I just gave it the wrong name. Tyne Valley line. I knew it sounded wrong. I absolutely knew it sounded wrong. By the way, other stations on that line include Metro Centre, Bladen, Prudhoe, Stocksfield, Riding Mill, which is an interesting name for a station, Hexham, Corbridge, I'm going to skip a bunch here, Halt Whistle, Brampton, which, by the way, is another place in Ontario, so anyone who wants to explore UK places in Ontario, I can give you a list. What else is on here? Wetherell, and then, of course, Rome Street Junction, and finally, Carlisle Citadel area is beyond the end of the line. So Carlisle's not on the line itself. It is on one of the other lines, like the Cell to Carlisle line, for example. And by the way, this is a true fact. When I was when I was starting to do a proposal for the Tyne Valley line, for the Metro Center to Carlisle line, without knowing that was what it was called at the time, I actually went to Google and I typed in Metro Center to Carlisle, and it came up with a route in Toronto, Ontario. Both are named areas. There's a Newmarket there as well, interestingly enough. So there is a Newmarket, Ontario. So, yeah, I'm not kidding when I say a lot of the names in the UK have been plagiarized into Ontario. I'm not joking when I say that. I should have hit the brakes a lot sooner. So I put a heavy brake application on because I did not put enough notice that I need to slow down here. Passengers are not going to like this. Look at that. They're leaning forward nicely. A little better now. I need to put more brakes on. Let's keep that brake on, please. This is a very small station. I did not plan this right at all. I did not plan this right at all. But nonetheless, despite bad planning, I am going to stop right on the platform. Arrival at Chesterless Street, platform number 2. Leaving Chesterless Street, our final stop is Newcastle, and then we're going to have to park the train in a siding somewhere beyond Newcastle. We have a starting speed limit of 115 miles per hour for this part of the journey. I'm going to show you what it is we're going to be doing at Newcastle and beyond. Let's go ahead and look at the map. You can see where we are on the train. We've already come all this way along the route, so we've come all up here. That's fantastic journey so far. Just a little bit left. We're on a bridge. Let's take a look at the bridge quickly, shall we? Beautiful. Oh, look at the street down there. It ends, but it's there. Gotta take advantage of the chance to look at the gorge, right? There we go. Let's go ahead and get a look at the map again. So we are up here right now. Needless to say, naturally, that's where we are. We're going to be continuing along the path past all these sidings, which I don't think they really do anything nowadays. Notice none of them are marked, so they're not really marked for anything. There are a few here that are marked as Tyne Yard arrival and such, but they don't all do anything anymore. They're all boring sidings now, apparently. The line to Dunstan goes off on the Tyne Valley. You continue up to Newcastle. Once you get past Newcastle, we're going to continue all the way up here into the yard right there. That's what we're doing today. So that's what the goal is going to be. We're now up to 84 miles per hour, so we're going to keep working our way up to 115. So yeah, that's one of the... So that we've now identified two major differences on the route. The Tyne sidings, very, very much fewer of them. And the others are just empty tracks that I guess are not maintained. In fact, I'm actually curious now. Are there even still switches to use them? We can't do tasks on them. The switches are still there to use them, so we can set them if we want to, do whatever we want to do with them. But I think they don't serve any real purpose now. In fact, a lot of them just end. And they don't all connect anymore. It's like they cut up some of the track here in some way. Very interesting. So, yeah, the Tyne sidings are much different than they were. They don't have as much... I mean, you can put trains in, and there's just no markers on them, so you can't use them for scenarios. But I'm sure you can put stock there if you want to, as stop there for whatever reason. A few signs are usable in scenarios, and then besides the main changes to Tyne Yard, and maybe some other signs ripped up along the way, there's also Dunstan itself. The Dunstan Yard is gone. The area now is actually something else. There's actually roads there now in that area in real life today. And you're able to use Dunstan Station, which closed at one point but has since reopened and remains open today. So Dunstan is available on the Tyne Valley line today as a renewed station. Look at that bridge. Not exactly sure what that bridge is, but I think this is the Tyne Yard over here as well. We're going to get our speed check down to 100 miles per hour. We are coming very close to the turnoff onto the Tyne Valley as well. I want to get a look over at Dunstan if I can. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to see, but I really do want to get a look over at it. You can see right now I am able to put it on the same screen and get it closer and closer. So I don't think I'm going to get to see much over there, but I want to take a look. Oh, and our timing for Newcastle, by the way, is 11:13. I think I have plenty of time. I certainly have an alert. And I'm getting to slow down for the 80 and the 70 and such anyway. So I'm going to take it down to 70 right now. And I'm going to maintain that for a moment so I can try and look over at Dunstan. Okay, let's take a quick peek over now at That's not how I do it. At Dunstan. So I'm going to pop out over here. We're going to head down the track. Here it is. Dunstan is over here. I don't see it. Oh, there. Okay, now we're coming up on it. I might not be close enough. Nope, I'm not going to be close enough. I am not going to... Nope, it was... That's Dunstan. Okay, that's Dunstan. I don't think it's been fully decorated. Okay, we're not going to be using Dunstan. Good to know. Dunstan is not fully decorated on this route, and we don't have any representation of the Tyne Valley line, so nothing can really be copied in either, unfortunately. We're coming down to a 30 here. Let's go ahead and clear this signal and speed restriction, not signal. We do have the green on the signal, confirmed. I am slowing down gradually for this speed change to 30. I'm going to actually put a much heavier brake on now because I need it. I might be speeding on this one, guys. Little lag as Newcastle loads in. This is expected. I'm not going to be speeding, guys. That is the Lumo. That is an 803. I am fairly certain that was an 803. How's that for brand recognition, guys? I'm not even from the UK. I just identified a Lumo. We have yellow signals here now. Now, it's worth noting that the fact that's a double yellow does not really mean anything to me because 2 signals from now is the end of Newcastle platform. So we're clear into Newcastle. We just have to get ourselves down for the 15. We're going to have to respond to the single yellow. At some point, we're going to be getting clearance to move on to the siding. But for right now, we're just getting into Newcastle. Have to drop a little more speed. So we are moving into platform number 4. That is what we have been told. Checking our itinerary, we are moving into platform number 4. So everything is kosher for our move. You can see we're going to go from a 15 to a 20 to a 40 to a 25 to a 30. So in other words, just go 10, right? No? Take another look from on top of the train. We can't really see much here. I think we already crossed the main bridge. Yeah, that was the bridge over there. I think that's the Queen Elizabeth Bridge over there. Or Queen Elizabeth II Bridge. So we are definitely coming into Newcastle here. I can now go 20. Apparently it took effect a little earlier than the sign ending, which is interesting. I have 3 full minutes to make the stop. I'm going to be waiting here for a while. So, yeah, that's why everything is still telling me I can't go beyond, because I'm going to be here for a while. I can't tell if the siren sound I'm hearing is in the game or actually outside here. I might be hearing a siren outside, but maybe it's in the game. Maybe you're hearing it very loud within the game because it's in the game. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll stop there. That's good enough. An arrival at Newcastle. I'm going to figure out what that noise is. Back with you in the class 802, waiting for permission to leave Newcastle. Took a quick peek at the map. There is actually a service coming. 6N19 is approaching. I believe that is the reason for our wait with the red signal. It was waiting for its own clearance. It got its clearance. It is now on the way, and we are going to probably be cleared after that, given that we're going to be finishing our stop at Newcastle right about now-ish. Right about now. Right about now. Okay, let's find out. Yeah, now. Come on. Come on, guys. I know it's a red signal, but seriously. Give me the freedom to move. I want to move. There it is. Welcome to Newcastle. Next, you take the train further to Heaton Depot for a regular inspection. Your signal should turn green once the freight train passes. Yep, so that 6 train was indeed a freight train. I'm giving a 6N19, I believe it was. So I'm giving it enough power so I can approach the signal without an attempt to pass it. The idea is to move a little bit closer and closer and just eventually just kind of game out the signal. It should be turning green any second now. Once this train clears another signal, it'll turn green for me. It has to clear a signal at the station platform before this signal will change, because of the way the game is coded. And I think it has to work like that in real life too. Otherwise it's still in the section. That is quite a... that's a long freight train. That's a long one. I mean, it's not North America long, but it's long enough. Wilt thy chain. Thank you. Linus. Knowing that we have a 25 up ahead, I'm not trying to go to 100% throttle. There's no reason to. We can get up to 25 just fine like this. This is Newcastle East Junction. Oh, there's a 30 there. I almost slowed down to 20, but it's actually a 30. Still being cleared to line S. Manners up, down, slow marker is ahead. That means we're going to be passing by Manners Station. Should be noted again that we are approaching an area where there's a lot of metro lines nowadays. So you can actually find videos of the metro journeys in this area on YouTube. I've actually found that, and very interesting to see. I think there's 2 of them. It might be a third one I'm forgetting about, but I know there's at least 2 of them. And they give you the videos give you facts and figures on each of the stations as well, which is really nice. Who is that? 2A26, a delayed train, and it has its own lane because we both have green signals. Fantastic. So we're not moving over, apparently. 50 is going to be our speed limit up ahead. Not that it matters because we're going to be being dropped right down anyway to A25 again. By the way, there is no timing element to this part of the scenario. You can see we just get there whenever. We're estimated to arrive at 11:25. But this is, again, whatever. We are being set for... We're being sent to Heaton Reception 3. I want to know if the sidings is set for us. Let's just check the... come on, let's check the path up ahead. Siding 3 is this one. We have to make sure we're coming in. We definitely are coming in. The line is green all the way in. It's automatic. There's not even any manual points. It's just automatic, which I love. Oh, look at that. A roundabout. Turntable, I mean to say. Fantastic. So the turntable is still there. I wonder if it's operational. Probably. So he could go 50 now, but I'm just going to go ahead and keep coasting at 25 because, lol. So Heaton South up, down, slow is now the path that we're taking. Does that mean this is Heaton Station? Let's take a look out the window here and see what we can find out. That's not out the window. This is out the window. So we're going to be seeing the station coming up here in just a second, I think. Maybe there's not. Oh, that might be for the yard. This is the yard. So it's the Heaton yard, I guess. We're going to be getting chopped down to 10 in just a moment. No wonder it's such a long arrival time. We got half a mile to go. I'm going to be down to about a quarter of a mile to go, going 10 miles per hour. No wonder it takes forever. Or at least it seems to. Seems to take forever, I say. It's tempting to just cruise in at whatever speed I want to do, but... as much as I would like the biscuits, I'm not a tea person. Let's get that down to 10. And we got down to 10. Small uphill smidge here. And then it's a straight quarter mile into Heaton Reception 3. We'll park it inside the siding. We're going to come to a stop. No signal to tell us to, so we're just going to do it on our own. If we go past, we fail. Speaking of all the other tasks, we're successful so far, so we want to finish successful. Is that a train? Yeah, that is a train. That is a sign. I couldn't... It was a buffer. It looks like another high-speed train. Maybe another 802. Oh, those are definitely 801s up there. I can see the 801s. Definitively. Now we're getting pulled over into our specific siding here. And this is our siding. Reception 3. Notice the guys right there waiting to receive us as well. They have a long walk to go to find me because the fact that that is right at the start of the area, I don't know if that was the best way to have them connect with a 12-car train if you have to bring it all the way in. They have to walk all the way down. Maybe it's a reception for trains coming the other way too, assuming they do that. But I don't know why they would. Oh well, what do I know? Lots of buffers over there. Wow. Look at the buffers. These tracks all end. There's a bit of pavement, and then there's more trains here. This area I refer to as "Thou shalt not pass." Oh, speaking of not passing, we have more trains over here. Hello. Hello. And more signs over here if we need them. So there's us. So we can come to a stop now. We're fully in the siding. Let's do that. That's the end of the scenario. Let's look at the train. And here lies the fleet in the yard waiting for services. Okay, I'll stop being dramatic. That's the end of this three-part scenario in a Class 802. First time driving the 802. I've driven an 801 before, but of course the game models all four from 800 to 803 on the 801. So thank you, driver. Hope you enjoyed the run all the way from Liverpool across the three scenarios. Okay, at least the messages in 2 and 3 were correct. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I am looking at ideas for next time. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to have, I don't know, about 4 days to mull it over at my mother's while I'm trying to do wallpaper and other stuff. So, yeah, hopefully these kitchen renovations are done soon. I am tired. Anyway, I'll see you next time. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever it is for your part of the world. And I'm Cyclone. See you next time. Bye-bye.